Hello all and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Mayank Agarwal and in this video we are going to learn about range function and how it can be used with for loop in Python. So we started with iteration few videos back and now we are going to learn how exactly this range function come into the picture and where exactly can it be used. Okay, so let's get started. Let's now start with our understanding of range function. Range function actually is an inbuilt function in Python. Okay, so it's an inbuilt function in Python. And it returns a range object. Okay, so we provide something to it. Okay, we have seen how exactly print is also a function, right? We of course gonna cover function in proper depth in the upcoming module, but meanwhile, like print, range is also a function which returns us a range object. Okay, so when I told you about the data types in Python, okay, then I told you that there is a range object as well, which is basically predefined in Python, and range function is actually used to get that object. The range function is actually very useful to generate a sequence of numbers, which can be casted into a sequence like list or a tuple. Okay, so maybe you can just like I would say understand with list as of now, because tuple is something which we are going to also cover, but it actually gives you I would say an object through which you can easily generate a list of or a sequence of numbers. Okay, range function takes basically 1, 2, 3 arguments. Just one thing here. So if you have not seen the slicing video, okay, so I created awesome videos on slicing on the last, I would say, I think it have been 2 weeks. So please make sure that you see them. There will be the link in the description and on the I button as well. If I have figured out how to add that there. So that concept will be a lot useful, but I'm gonna still make sure that I explain you each and everything so that it becomes clear, because again, you will be seeing this a lot in other code. So it is very important that you understand this perfectly. Okay. So major use, as we have seen, to generate sequence of numbers, where it can be used, we are going to learn that, and it takes 1, 2, 3 arguments. So let us now move forward. So range, first let us see with one parameter. So range n, okay, returns a range object containing integer value from 0 to n minus 1. So maybe we can actually, if you remember the slicing video kind of a part, maybe we can understand it like this. So range 0 to n. And if you remember, it always goes from 0 like to n minus 1, right? So if I will write range 10, okay, something like that, then it's gonna run from 0 to 9. You have to make sure, like, don't get confused with this. Here, of course, I've added 2 arguments, but this is just to explain you. If you're adding 1 argument, the start is 0 by default, and it gives you that number. Let us see some examples. So range minus, let me show you some example first. So let's say range 5. Now you will see that it is actually giving me a range object. Okay, so maybe let me store it in R1. Okay, and if I see R1, it is a range object, and if I see the type of R1, pay attention everyone, then it's range. Okay, so to cast it, I would say into something which we can see what is the overall, I would say, contents, we have to cast it into a list or tuple or some sequence. We are going to use list. So this is a list function in which you can cast it, and if you use this, see, it is giving us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it starts from 0, goes till 4. Now if I have, let's say, range of 10, and I can just directly write it like this altogether. So nothing, just instead of creating this object in between, I'm just directly casting my range object into a list. And you can see the result from 0 to 9. So the problem actually happens, or if you have seen the slicing video, it won't be major of a problem. But let's say if it is range minus 3, then what should happen? Okay, so if I do this list. So let us first try to understand. What exactly should happen. 1 second. Yeah, cool. So see here, everyone. This is your number line. This is minus 3. This is 0. Okay, this is like 1, 2, like this. So again, if you have seen the slicing video of, again, the reason I'm mentioning is because the major intuition funda understanding is the same only. So you are going to start from 0 and you have to move in this direction. Okay, you can never reach here. So you know that, okay, if I start from 0 and I can never reach minus 3, then I hope you understand what exactly are we going to get. And you're going to get an empty list, okay, because range of minus 3 is empty, like it is nothing. Okay, so that's the understanding. Let me just clear everything from the screen. Great. So that's the overall understanding, everyone. So you will see the understanding here. So range minus 5, okay, we can maybe write the same here as well, is equals to an empty list, right, or empty range object, I would say. Like it's a range object, but when you cast it into a sequence like list, you won't be seeing anything. Range is coded in such a way that it moves right side with the start value from 0. So the same thing which I showed you via, I would say, the number line. Okay, so this number line which I drew, where it starts from 0 and it goes in this direction. Okay, everyone. So since -5 or -3, it is not to the right of 0, it returns an empty list. We get an empty list, right? So that's the basic understanding. Very much, I would say, same to the way it was in your slicing. So let us move forward and now range with 2 parameters. Again, this is just start and stop. Always gonna move in the right direction. So we'll get a range of object containing integers from start. So start is included to end -1. So start to end -1. If it is 1 to 10, then from 1, okay, not 0 this time, and till 9. So range 0 to 5 will become 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so this is what your this gonna be. Always remember to cast into list to see the result that we have already seen. So let me show the same as well to you. Let's say range of 0 to 5. Okay, and let me just cast it into a list. You can see the result. Now let's say if I want to start from 2 instead, and say go till 4, 2 and 3. So these are the two, I would say, again, basically arguments which range function is taking. So let us go and see more to it. Okay, let us do these examples. This is 10 and 1. Let me just remove this extra dot because it is seeming like a decimal. Should be fine. Okay, let me just write this one again. So let us see a few examples here, everyone, like what exactly is going to happen. So first is 10 to 1. Okay, let us write this. List range 10, 1. It's an empty list. Okay, so pause the video. Tell me why it is the case. Just try to understand yourself. Okay, so hope you have paused and just, I would say, understood the same, but let me explain you again. Again, the thing is that, see, it is 10 here, it is 1 here. We are saying that your start is 10, your end is 1. You cannot go like this. You will never reach. So it always goes in the right direction by default. You can never reach to the 1. So that's why it's an empty list. Okay, so that's the overall understanding. Then let us see some more examples which are written on, I would say, overall I have written using my handwritten notes. So -10 and 5. Okay, let us try to understand this, what it will be. Pay attention here. So see, -10 is actually here. Let me change the color of the pen. Yeah, -10 is here and -5 is somewhere here. So we actually can move in this direction, right? So this is in this direction only, and it will of course stop one step before. So it's gonna ideally stop at -6 here. So this is gonna stop at one step before, and ideally we should get -10, 9, 8, 7 and 6. Let us see the same ones. So list range -10, -5, and see -10, -9, -8, -7 and -6. This is why we are getting the result and we were not getting result here. Again, many students don't have an idea on this, so please make sure that you understand this very nicely. It will be very helpful to you. Okay, same -3 to 10, -10, you can never reach that. Okay, so let us do the same, and then -3 to 3. So let me explain you here again. So pay attention, everyone. See, if it is -3 and it is -10, you can never reach here. So that's a problem. Then again, if you are standing on -3 only and if you are asking to go to -3, ideally it should stop at -2. Your end should be at -2. Let me just move this thing because this is due to static. 1 second. Yeah, so -3 and this is -2. I hope you can understand, like you cannot start from -3 and go to -2. Okay, so let us see both of these examples in code as well. So list of range -3, -10, we are getting an empty list. List of range -3, -3, we are again getting an empty list. Okay, so I hope all these are clear. I've tried to explain them from scratch only. Anyway, I will actually suggest you to see the slicing video again, because there everything is, I would say, in a similar way explained. So once you complete that understanding, you are actually set for a lot of functions. I would say in list, tuple, as well as I would say the way it is done in NumPy arrays, okay, and pandas even. So everything will be set. So that's why if you just spend maybe 20 minutes in understanding them, you will be at a very good place. Okay, so now let us move forward. Then range function with the 3 parameters. Okay, I think, yeah, so this is something which again we have already covered. So now let us I would say just control the step. Okay, or it is also known as stride, right? So why should it always move in a single, I would say, by single step? Maybe if I want to all the even numbers, if I want to move it by 2 steps, or maybe if I want it to move in negative direction, then exactly what should happen? Okay, so akin to slicing, now we will get numbers with start to end, each separated by distance of a step. Okay, and in the direction as well. So let me write this as well. Plus direction of step is very important. Direction of step. Okay, so let us see this, everyone. Let us see a few examples here. range 0, 10, 2. I think we all can actually understand how it's gonna give us the answer. So 0, 10, from 10 of course, see, because it's going in this direction, it's gonna come here 9, and then 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8. This is what it should give us the result. So that is what the result we see. Okay, now 3, 9, -1. Now it's a pretty good one. Okay, so see, it's 3 and this is 9, but this time I have just changed the direction. I am asking it to go this side. Now I hope you understand that you cannot go from 3 to 9 by moving in the left direction, right? So yeah, my left, your left as well. So again, it's going to be an empty string, and let us see this one so that you are able to understand this. A number line approach is always the best in understanding this. Okay, so first was 0, 10, 2. It is returning the same number which we thought. Then next one was 3. I think it was 9. But this time I'm passing -1. So it's an empty list. And that's the reason it is empty. Like if I ask, I would say like students to explain that 90% of students will fail in this. Then again, let us see some more example. What are these? 7, 1 and -2. Okay. This time again, I'm starting from 7, but this time actually I'm starting from 7. So that's actually helpful to me, right? Because I'm starting from 7. And you are saying ki go -2 in this direction. So that's how I'm going to move. And you have to always remember one thing here as well. Pay attention, everyone. So what happened this time, because I am moving in this direction, I'm going to stop at one step here. So when I was moving in the right direction, I used to stop one step before. When I'm using in this direction, I used to stop in this direction. I used to basically step one step in the right direction. So it's opposite to the direction where you should stop. So you should ideally stop from on 2 here. Okay, let us see the same in, I would say, overall understanding. So range, my 7, 1 and -2. See, sorry, list 7, 5 and 3. Let me make it -1 to showcase you. See, it is going till 2 only. Okay, it is not going till 0. I'll never make this mistake where you are always moving towards the left side. Okay, so which direction we are moving, in the opposite of that we stop. Okay, so let me explain you this again. Let's say if we are moving in this right direction and we have to go till 9, it will stop at 8. But if let's say I'm moving in the left direction, not this one, yeah. If I'm moving in the left direction and I have to go till let's say 1, then I'm going to stop at 2. So this thing is very, very important to understand, everyone. Like very logical. The way I've explained you is very logical, but yeah, very important to understand. The last one is range 5, 10, 15. So if the step is very high, then what will happen? Let us see the same in, I would say, code only. So 5, 10 and 15. And we just see 5, because if you remember, like we start from 5, we can go in the direction of 10. It's a different problem that we will just jump ahead of it. So I'm going to catch 5 with me and then go in this direction. If I cannot go in the direction, then if I can never reach it, then it's a problem and then I return empty. But if I can, then it works pretty well. Okay, cool. So these are few more things, everyone. Let us check this. So 110, 1.5. Now always remember that this is an error. Like range doesn't support this thing. Range doesn't support, I would say, fraction or decimal inputs. Okay, so if any one of your inputs are fraction or decimal, it's a problem. Okay, so let us see the same ones. Pay attention, everyone. So list range 0, 10, 1.5. Okay, it's a problem. Float object cannot be interpreted as an integer. If I make it like, let me copy it. If I make this 10.5 and this one, then again it's a problem. And in the final way as well, if I make it, let's say 1.5. So none of these arguments which you are passing in the function, it can never be anything else instead of an integer. Okay, so I hope that is clear. I hope that is very much clear. Then the next question actually was that if let's say I do it like this, range 0, 5 and 0. I hope you understand that. Like it is asking on the number line to like not move. Like 0 is basically not moving. So that's a problem. It is going to give an error. Range argument 3 must not be 0. So third argument can never be 0, because that is where you are providing where to move and how much to move. If you will not even allow it to move, okay, no direction, no magnitude, then how will it basically make sure and give you the range of numbers? Okay, so that was all on that. And then 12, 2, I think this though you will always now do, though this you can actually work at your end. 2, 12 gonna give us some answer, 12, 2 is not gonna give us an answer. Okay, so that was all on the range function. We have seen it with all the 3 arguments, everyone, like the 3 arguments which are used. Okay, start, stop and stride, very akin to slicing. Now let us see how exactly it can be used in for loop. Okay, so if you remember what I was actually doing is, for writing anything in my for loop, I was always creating some list like this, right? Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this I was doing. But don't you think it's a very, I would say, not the best way of working with for loop? Because first I will have to create a list. Okay, then let's say if someone asks me here, just give me all the top 5 or 5 even numbers, then I'm going to print the 5 even numbers. I'm going to print it like this. I'm going to first create a list of them and then give you the same. I think 0 also comes, but that should be fine. Then for I in L1, I'm going to print I. Something like this I have to do, right? I have to first define that sequence and then basically work on that. If let's say someone is asking me to run on the length of something in a way, then I have to make, I would say, some list or some sequence of that, some iterable of that, and then work on that. So there is where actually range help us a lot. There is where range comes a lot handy. We can use range function and for together for iterating through list of numeric values. So whenever we want to go through numeric values, okay, so starting from 1 to 10, -5 to 0, anything with whatever step or stride which we are asking, we can work on that. Because range is an iterable, so range is also an iterable. List just basically unpacks it. So you can pass it directly into the for, I would say, for loop. So for variable name in range number, indented statement like this. So let us see the same in action. So same question, how well I will do is for I in range, or let me make it number. So I don't need to now cast it into a list. I don't need to cast it into a list or any sequence. Let's say if it is starting from 0 going to 10 and step of 2, I can just print my number. Okay, again you can cast it into a list as well and it's gonna run the same because the list is actually just giving you these numbers, but you are very good to just use a range because it's an iterable. So range is an iterable. We can just store this thing as well. Pay attention everyone. So I can just store it like this. Okay, and now your R1 is a range object. So for I in R1, I can just print I and everything is visible to you. Okay, so no need to basically cast it, though list of R1 is useful for you, but for loops understand that, hey, it's a range object. I know that, okay, how it is starting, where is it ending, and what's the step or stride, and it can work on the same. So it is actually a lot useful. Like whenever we have to work on, let's say, each and every element of something, then we can run it from 0 to length of that particular, I would say, sequence or length of that particular word. Okay, something like this we can always use. So let us do this question, everyone. Write a program to take a number from user and display sum of all the numbers from 1 to that number. I think we did the same question in while loop as well. So let us do this in for loop. So let's say in number, okay, is equals to input, right? Enter a number. So let's say I asked 10. Now for I, or let's say num in, I have to cast it into int, this thing into it. So let me store that number in int because it's a string by default, right? Int of in num, and what I have to do, range of 0 to in num, and I can just so what exactly we have to do, display sum of all the numbers now. So no worries, we can just take a sum is equals to 0 and sum is equals to sum plus num, and I can print my sum after coming out of this loop, and I'm getting 45. Okay, so I think 10 is left because first 10 we needed, so there should be plus 1 because we have to take all those numbers. That's why the answer is 45 and not 55. Now it's right and it is 55. Okay, again, what's the next question? Write a program to take a number from the user and find its factorial. So let us do it in the same I would say case. So factorial, if you don't know what factorial is, let me just try to give you a quick introduction. Factorial is actually, let's say we have to find 5 factorial, it will be 5 into 4 into 3 till 1. So let's say if I have to find 10 factorial, it will be 10 into 10 minus 1 into 10 minus 2 until I reach 1. So that means that factorial, so this is the overall, I would say, icon. 1 factorial is 2, 1 factorial is 1 because 1 into 1. 2 factorial is 2. Similarly, 3 factorial is I would say 6 because 2 into 6, right? So 2 into 6, it is 6. So that's how we find the factorial. Let me just remove it. Let me write it pretty clearly. Yeah. Okay, so this is just the case which is happening. So maybe what we can do is, let's say my fact is equals to 1 initially. This time I have to just make sure for num in range, I have to start from 1, not from 0. If I start from 0, everything will be 0. In num plus 1, fact is equals to factorial into num, and just I can print a factorial. And you're getting it 362880. So let us just do this. 10 factorial. It is 36, 28, 800. 36, 28, 800. So this seems about right. Okay. Cool. So yeah, I think that should just cover your range function as well. And I have shown you how exactly you have to use it in range function. Else we have to create a list first or create some sequence altogether on which we can work on it. So range function is very useful in that sense. Okay. Cool everyone. So I hope the proper understanding of range is now clear, and how exactly to use it in for loop is also understood. Again, please make sure that you see this video again. If anything is not clear, ask me in the comments. If you have any doubts, anything which is you feel is something which you were not able to understand when I was teaching that, please make sure that you understand it once very nicely, because it is used at lots of places going forward. So it will be a very, I would say, useful input which you can do in your learning journey. Again, please make sure that you like this video, comment on this video if you like the teaching, and also subscribe to my channel and share this with anyone who is trying to learn Python. That would mean a lot, because of course I'm putting in a lot of effort, and I want that each and every one of you learn Python properly with proper understanding and intuition, as that will be a lot helpful in your journey. Okay. Thank you very much everyone. Let's meet in the next video. Thank you.